Hello everybody. In this video tutorial, I just wanna talk more about these two XML files. As you can see, if I double click the activity main.xml, for example, imagine that I want to add a user interface component to my layout. Look at here, I drag a small text view to the layout. Look at here, I can't do it. I'm not allowed to do it. Why is that? Because as of the newest versions of the Android Studio, we are not allowed to actually add the user interface components to this file, to the activity main.xml. We are just allowed to actually add these components to the content underline main.xml. Look at here, for example, if I take a button, I can easily add to this file. But so what's the use of this activity main.xml? Look at this thing here. This is called the floating action button. As of the API 23, this feature is part of the Android Marshmallow. For example, if I want to delete this, actually this feature, I can do it in the activity main.xml. But look at here, I can select it. For example, if I select the whole layout and select this thing here, this floating action button here, I can select it easily. But if I go back to the content underline main.xml, I can't anymore actually select this feature. Look at here, I can't select it. So for example, imagine that I want to delete this feature from my application because I don't need it. We will be using this feature in the other applications, but for this application, we don't use it anymore. We don't use it at all. So you just need to actually look at the bottom here. There are two tabs, okay? The design tab, which is this tab that we are currently in, and the text tab. As you can see, this text tab, these are the XML codes of the actual design. For example, if I add a user interface component to my layout here, the codes will be added here. The XML codes will be added here. Or if I add, for example, an code, an XML code here, the design layout will respond to that. So if I, for example, look at here from this less than symbol, android.support.design.widget.floating action button, that refers to that actually feature, to this floating action button here. Okay, if I highlight this block of code from this less than symbol to the end of this greater than symbol and click and press on delete on my keyboard, let's see what happens to the design tab. Let's open that design tab, and as you can see, there are no floating action button anymore. Okay, and this is the use of this file activity main.xml. And look at here, I can actually choose this toolbar, okay? But if I click on the content underline main.xml, I can't actually select it. For example, imagine that I want to change the color of this toolbar. So how do I do it? I just need to click this toolbar in the activity main.xml, and in the attributes here or properties, I can easily change the background attribute. I can, for example, select this background, actually as I highlighted here, and click on delete on my keyboard. And for example, I want to make it a green toolbar. So I can easily type in a hashtag and 00FF00. It's green now. And if I go back to the content underline main.xml, it's 0 again. Okay. And in our Java code, we need to actually delete some code that is related to that floating action button that we deleted earlier. We need to actually highlight this block of code from the floating action button to the end of this semicolon and click on delete. And if I, for example, want to test my application on an emulator, I just need to click on this play button here. And as you can see, it's going to ask me some questions about the emulators. I have an emulator ready for me. Nexus 5 API 23 x86. This is here. Ask me whether I want to use the same device for future launches. Yes, I want it, and click on OK. And as you can see, it's going to actually configure and set up the AVD Android virtual device for me, and it's gonna actually run our application on a virtual device. As you can see, this Gradle build running here. I think it's okay now. Gradle invocation finished. No errors, no warnings. So now we should actually wait till it's done actually starting the AVD for us. Okay, now it's Android is starting apps. Okay, now as you can see, there are some actually texts here in the at the bottom. Device shell command install -r. You can actually run your virtual device from your command line, but using this play button here is pretty easy. And we're waiting to actually run our application. And now, as you can see, Hi World application, this is green, and my Hi World text view in the center of the screen. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.